Welcome ladies and gentlemen, today I will show you a Maelstrom build for the Stamina Warden. It is a heavy armor two-handed bow build. It has a lot of damage, it's way tankier than usual setup, so it's a lot more beginner friendly. I will put the full run into the description of the video if you also want to go check it out. I just recently uploaded 1-2 runs with 2 different setups. I'm going to explain them here today. Trust me, it's way easier to run it with a two-handed bow setup than with like medium armor dual-wield bow. Especially for newer players or people that struggle with Maelstrom. And you still can get a pretty good score. Actually a really good score. Now, because we have, it's actually funny, like heavy attack, reverse slice deals so much damage, it's completely insane because of how we distribute the CP. As you can see, the stats, we have a little bit low crit, but it doesn't matter. Stamina recovery is nice, we'll not run out of sustain. You want to have the Lover Mundo Stone for the extra penetration. In terms of race, any race works. I still recommend running a stamina race because, yeah, you will do a little bit more damage. But technically you could run with everything you want. Also make sure to not forget medicinal use, it's a very important passive. Potions. Just run the weapon power pots. You don't necessarily need the full ones, I just buy them because you can buy them in store. But for example, we do have the weapon damage buff from here, so technically crit and stamina is already enough. Buff food. For this type of setup with the Stormfist, you want to run Dubious Cameron Throne. This is very important, and we have 17.2k health. In heavy armor, a lot of sustain, we barely will get any damage if you do it correctly. Please make sure to not forget to subscribe, I will upload tons of more videos in the future. At the moment, this setup is not on my website yet. I might put Maelstrom builds on my website in the future, but I'm still not sure if I just want to do a full trial dungeon build and then add a Maelstrom section like with the other builds. 7th Legion. This is a very strong set. I tested it a few times, and the thing is, we don't necessarily use it because of the weapon damage, but more so because of the heal. The heal does not have a cooldown, so every time we get hit, we get 1245 health back. On top of Leeching Vines. So we can get like 2 to 3k health back when we get hit. And the thing is, we have a shield here. So when we are low health, we hit 1-2 enemies, we will have an 8 to 10k shield. And when we have half health, let's say we have like 10k health and a 5k shield. We get hit and both 7th Legion and the Leeching Vines proc, then we get so much health back and we just lose the shield. That's why this build is so strong and you take so little damage. I do run a health glyph here. I do recommend running like at least 17 to 18k health. That's why I have it here, otherwise I would drop a little bit too much. Full Divine to boost the spell the physical penetration. Stormfist. Now I like to run this because it gives me stamina recovery and also like it procs quite often. You can run another monster set if you want. If you want to run Krog or something or Velidref, go for it. Vicious Ophidian, 3 pieces. If you don't have this, you can run Agility, it's basically the same damage. The reason here you don't actually get 5% because of like diminishing returns, it's more like 3.5 to 4%. And Agility is really, it costs like 2k in the guild store, so if you don't have that, no problemo. All weapon damage, enchants on the jewelry. Now, the second option that you would have with this build, you could run 5 pieces Vicious. And if you run 5 pieces Vicious, you can run normal buff food. Putting your health higher, your stamina a little bit higher. The reason why is because the 5 piece of Vicious Ophidian is really strong. It gives you 2k stamina back. Even if you only have blue jewelry. Don't tell me, well, I don't have access to Vicious Obedience. That's complete not true. You can run normal Sanctum. Blue Jewelry drops a lot there, and Shoulders and Helmet, you should get it pretty fast. Because if you have blue Vicious Jewelry, you still get 2k stamina back. There is barely any difference. But yeah, I prefer the Storm, this setup, at least on this character anyway. Now in terms of weapons. So I do have an Asylum two-hander sword here. You don't need a perfected one. You can have an imperfect one which drops in normal Asylum, which is very easy to clear. Now, the difference between the perfected and imperfect is basically 2%. So instead of 15 ultimate, you will get 14 ultimate. So there is not any difference at all. So don't tell me you can't farm this, blah blah blah, just fucking go get it. The imperfect one, so easy to get. Make sure you have Nernhound, because you want to have a little bit more weapon damage, and I put the weapon damage enchant there. You could probably put another enchant, but I actually like this. Now on the back bar, I do have a Maelstrom bow. Obviously, if you haven't completed Maelstrom yet, you will not have such a bow. But you can run any other bow, either just a random bow, or then a master bow, for example, or an asylum bow. It doesn't really matter. But obviously, if you have a Maelstrom bow, run a Maelstrom bow. Just make sure to have damage, health, poisons there, because they deal a lot of damage. That's the thing. And they're not that expensive anymore in guild stores. So that's the general setup. The key is 7th Legion, because it just adds healing to your setup, and you actually you take less damage with heavy armor and all that stuff. Champion points. Now here is where it gets interesting. I have it like this here, but the more important part is here. So we run 85 in Mastered Arms and 35 in Weapon Expert. The reason is because we have a lot of direct damage abilities. Brawler, the first hit, Reverse Slice, and Subterranean Assault. Like when we hit with Dawnbreaker and all that stuff. So it's actually really nice to have it. That's why our like Reverse Slice and all the other stuff deal so much damage. Our heavy attacks hit so hard, it's completely broke. Well, not broken, but you basically, like with a heavy attack and Reverse Slice, you kill most of the small mobs. Another reason why we have so many points in here, at least 120, is because of the Tactician. It helps if you have to dodge roll, you set the enemy off balance. Then you actually get the Exploiter here, you do 10% more damage. Very nice. Other than that, here you don't need anything. 61, 43, 64. You need a little bit more here because Stamina Recovery is nice, and Tenacity, we do a lot of heavy attacks, so it also helps. 62 Warlord. Here, make sure to have the right points because of the jump points. Then I put a few here. Most important is this setup here with the other things you can play around. Now, just to mention a few very important things with this build, at least on a Warden. So Wardens are quite strong overall, and the heavy armor build, we have a lot of damage because Bird of Prey gives you minor berserk, 8% more damage done. Really nice, and it holds for like 40 seconds. Plus you get the speed buff, which is also nice. Here Brawler. So this is a nice dot, but the main reason why we run is because you also gain a damage shield that absorbs 2.2k damage. And each enemy hit increases the damage shield strength by 100. For some reason it gives you more than it actually should, I don't know why. So if you hit 2 or 3 enemies, you will have a 10k shield. And that's really hard to actually get through. Reverse Slice. Our main ability in Execute or like whatever just deals a lot of damage combined with the Assault. We don't run a Wrecking Blow on the Warden. This does a lot of damage, and most mobs don't have a lot of health in Maelstrom Arena. So you do one heavy attack, the mob is at half health. You use reverse slice, it will almost be dead. Maybe you have to use a second one, dead. Sub assault. Now here, this is something I had the most trouble with. You see, like, it takes 3 seconds to go off, but the thing is, it hits harder than, or more, like it almost hits as hard, or maybe the same as a wrecking blow, but it's basically instant cast, it's just a little bit delayed. So you charge this, you do a heavy attack, then you do the reverse slice, and the mob will be dead anyway, right? Except for bosses. Plus, it also applies major fracture. Like, you will have more physical penetration because the boss is debuffed or the mobs are debuffed. Soothing Spores. Now here you can either run Vigor or this. This is a nice burst heal. If you don't want to go PvP, you don't need Vigor. This is also nice. But if you want, roll with Vigor. Dawnbreaker Smithing. You can choose the other morph for a little bit more weapon damage and more damage. But Dawnbreaker Smithing is nice because you can CC the enemies. Especially if you're a newer player, it's actually a really strong ultimate. Another thing maybe to mention about the two-hander, like I said, the Battle Rush. And here, when you do a heavy attack, your next ability will deal 10% more damage. It's also nice. Other than that, I think that's it. About heavy armor. Also, when we do a heavy attack, you see Revitalize. We even restore more stamina. So it's really easy to manage your resources. That's something, yeah, nice. Back bar. Endless Hail. Now, whether you have a Maelstrom bow or not, this is a really strong ability. Holds 10 seconds. Basically a must have. Rearming Trap. Nice. Deals a lot of damage as well, plus it gives you minor force, increasing your critical damage by 10%. Poison Injection, nice damage or time effect, especially after 50% health. Now Leeching Vines, this is the most important skill of this build kinda. And as you see, it only has a 10 seconds duration. As long as you keep this up, you're barely gonna die. So if you want, you could slot that on the front bar. Because for me also, I keep forgetting to reapply it, and then you don't heal that much and you will die. Just as a thing, so you can actually change the bars here. So what does this do? First off, the wine heals the target. It heals you. Every time we take damage with a 1 second cooldown. And it applies minor lifesteal to the enemy, giving you even more health. In each arena, about 50% of the healing is coming from this ability. No joke, it's so strong. Bull Netch gives us stamina sustain and brutality, really nice. And then the Ballista. You want to use this ultimate on the bosses, it deals the most damage. Just to make sure, when you start the fight, buff yourself up. And then activate the Assault. And then use your ulti. Because you want to make sure the boss is debuffed with Major Fracture the moment you start your bow ulti. So like 2 seconds before the boss spawns, you press this, you apply Hail, and then bow ulti, and maybe the trap. That's something that you need to learn in terms of combo. That's more or less it. You can play around with the skills a little bit, but I do think Brawler, the Bird and the Vines are very important. If you have already enough sustain, you don't necessarily need the Netch. About passive here, you see Bond with Nature. Every time you activate one of those abilities, so we have 3, either the Prey, like the Bird, Prey, Bull Netch or Assault. We also get health back. If you're low on health, you could spam the Bull Netch, because it doesn't cost anything. On top of that, we also get ultimate every time we activate one of those thingies. Combined with Asylum two-hander, you will see you will get ultimate so fast. Especially for newer players in Maelstrom Arena, this is nice because you will charge your smithing faster, so you can stun the enemies more and more. Other than that, maybe Yeah, there's nothing else really important to mention here. So yeah, that's more or less it about the setup. Give it a try if you struggle in Maelstrom. Like, I think the first time I run it, I had like 55 minutes, and most of my rounds are around there, so I didn't lose any time at all compared to a medium dual wield setup, which is actually kinda hilarious. Plus, it's way easier and more fun. If you do have any questions, ask me in the comment section below. I will test the other classes as soon on stream as well. I just need a little bit more time and figure out some things. I want to also test some other heavy armor sets, but this looks very promising. Plus the new DLC is coming soon, so we will see. Make sure not forget to subscribe and hit that juicy like button. Thank you for watching and have a nice day. Cheers.